Hello, and welcome to Honors Biomedicine. I'm not going to lie, this presentation is going to be quick. I'm not going to read things to you, I'm going to skip over it because many of you are juniors and seniors, and this is pretty identical to what you did in chemistry. If there's a spot you need to pause and slow down, please feel free. This presentation is also available on Schoology in the folder that's listed class resources. And if you have any questions on anything, please see me. I'm just going to touch base on some of the important stuff. So basically, welcome. Ask for help. Just like with chemistry, if you're struggling with anything, ask for help. As far as materials, I'm going to give you a comp book on your first day. You should have a folder. A lot of your papers I make half sheet size so that you can tape them or glue them directly into your comp book, but that's not always the case. So it is good to have a folder or something where you can put those full-size pages. We will use colored pencils in here a lot. I do a lot of color-coded kind of diagrams when I do my lecture notes, and students find it helpful sometimes to color code their notes. I do have colored pencils available in class, but if you would like your own set, please feel free to purchase some or whatever. Same thing with dry erase. We won't do as much dry erase whiteboarding in here as we did in chemistry, but we still do it quite a bit. So if you're someone that likes to have your own supplies, by all means, please feel free. Just like with chemistry, there's going to be an agenda posted every day on the front screen. It's important that you come in, you put your phone in its designated location, and you start on the warm-up. I know we want to be social. I know it's early in the morning, and the last thing we want to do is get straight to work. But it's important because attempting these warm-ups ahead of time will help you to see what it is that you're struggling with or identify any areas that maybe you didn't realize you were having difficulty with. And it's important to have that attempt done before we go over it in class because everything seems easier as the teacher's going over it. Phones. This is the biggest thing, but most of you aren't surprised by this. As we know, the state law requires that all phones are off and away during the day. That includes your smartwatch. I'm not going to make you put your smartwatch up in the pocket except for during tests. However, your phone either needs to be in a phone pocket or in your locker. Please, please, please make sure it is powered off. If it buzzes in the phone pocket or your bag, or if it's in the phone pocket and I see the blinky lights or it goes off, I am able to confiscate it and it will count as an infraction on the PCD policy. So please just turn it off. Make sure it's completely off. I will have assigned pockets for you on the phone pocket holder, and make sure your phone is in there or in your locker. iPads. You guys will use iPads a bit more in here than we do in chemistry, but still, unless it specifically says to use your iPad, please make sure your iPad's away. I know some of you like to do notes on iPad, but there's been numerous studies that show that taking notes on notebook paper is much more beneficial, not only for the learning process, but you're much more likely to return to it and go back to it later. So no notes on iPad. Notes need to be in your comp book. As far as the bathroom and hall pass, I'm a firm believer of treating you guys like adults until you show me that I can't. As young adults, we expect you to have all the responsibilities, but don't give you any of the rewards. And so I try to fix that. You do not have to ask to use the restroom. I am trusting that you as a young adult know if you need to use the restroom or to visit your locker, and if it's important enough for you to miss classroom content. All you'll need to do is you'll come up to the front of the room, you'll sign the sign-out sheet legibly with your name and the timeout, take the pass with you, and when you return, you'll put the pass back and legibly put the time that you return. It's very important that you write clearly so that I can not only tell your name, but your time out and time in. This is for safety reasons. This lets me know if we happen to go into a lockdown or there's a fire drill or a fire alarm, I know where you are so I can find out if you are safe. Not only that, but it does serve as a record of when you're out of the room. It gives me a much clearer indication if somebody vandalizes the bathroom, let's say. I can say, oh, it wasn't Joe Schmo because Joe Schmo was signed out at a different time. He was not out of class at that time. So please, I'm not asking much. You don't have to ask permission. Write your name so I can read it, along with the time out and the time in. Food and drink. This should be a no-brainer. No food or drink on the lab bench ever. You guys will be working with things like bacteria and toxic chemicals. You cannot have food or drink on the lab benches. Or if it's one of the rare activities or labs that I allow you to do at your tabletops, make sure you wipe everything down. Again, no eating or drinking in the lab area or wherever you're doing the lab at. There will be a weekly check in here, much like there was in chemistry. I know towards the end of the year in chemistry, those kind of got a little less frequent, but there will be weekly checks in here. Those weekly checks are just small, low point quizzes to make sure that you are where you should be. It's hopefully going to serve the purpose of not being a shocker of what's on the test when it comes time to take the test. Academic integrity, you were talked to about, don't cheat. Just don't cheat. Participation, we're going to discuss like scientists. Again, you got used to this in chemistry, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. If you'd like to pause here to read this, you can, but I'm going to move forward. A lot of times in class, students ask what the grade correlation is, not only the breakdown of it, but what do they need to do to get an A? And so as far as the breakdown, assessments are going to be 55% of your grade, lab activities are 40%, and homework and participation are 5%. Because it's an honors course, that's why I took the homework and participation from the 10% in chemistry to the 5% in here. As far as grade correlation, I will allow you to read these. You can see what you need to do to be in the different grade categories. If you have further questions, let me know. Again, you're all upperclassmen in the most case, so I'm not going to go over this. However, I am going to focus on prearranged absences because this is where students run into the most trouble. According to the handbook, a prearranged absence, and at the top of the form for the prearranged absence, it states that you are responsible for all work completed upon your return. What that means is if you weren't here to hand in a homework, you are expected to hand it in when you return. If it's something that's due on Schoology, the day that you're gone, and you were given it ahead of time, it is expected to be handed in to Schoology. If there's going to be a test on Friday and you had a prearranged absence and have been out all week but are returning on Friday, you will take the test on Friday. It is a prearranged absence. You knew about the test ahead of time because the daily agenda is posted on the first day of every unit, so therefore you will be responsible for taking the test. Please make sure that you are aware of what you need to accomplish while you are out absent. If you are sick or it's an family emergency or whatnot, that's a different circumstance. But if you're planning to be out, you need to plan accordingly. Just like with chemistry, 15 minutes a night. Honest 15 minutes shouldn't be more than 15 minutes. I will intentionally give large assignments a longer due date. So for large assignments, I may have it due in a week, and that means that with your expected 15 minutes a night, it might be a 2-hour assignment. If you wait till the night before, it's going to be a lot more than 15 minutes. I don't give busy work. I give work to help you solidify the content and the information. You should be studying 15 minutes a night, doing your learning target reviews, and reviewing the day's or week's material. Along with that, though, it shouldn't take much more than 15 minutes a night. If you're at 20, 30 minutes and you're not understanding or you're frustrated, you're not making progress, put it away and email me. That's a very important part. I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide here, because as far as missing and late homework will not be accepted late unless you email me before it is due. Not an oops, well, I forgot. Email me before it is due. I may be able to simplify it for you, or I may be able to have you perform the part that's imperative for the next day's class. Projects and labs have a penalty of 10% for each day it's late. Finally, get help. I try to be as available as possible. I'm available during first lunch or fifth period, except for Tuesdays. I'm not available fifth period on Tuesdays. Seventh period, I have study center, so I'm available every day. I'm usually available as early as 7 a.m. most days and until at least 3 p.m., sometimes later. However, for the before and after school, please check with me ahead of time. Sometimes I have meetings or appointments and I'm not available, and I would hate for you to come and wait outside my locked door at 7 a.m. until I walk in. See a science teacher. You found Miss Raymond's explanations to be really helpful. Okay, go get help from her. Miss Matnedes just seemed to be the biology whisperer for you, and you're really struggling with what we're doing in this class. Go talk to Miss Matnedes. I'm not going to be offended if you're getting help. If there's some teacher's way of teaching that speaks to you better, I won't be offended. See a peer. National Honor Society a lot of times will have students that have taken this class in the past, so they know what to expect. If these things don't work out or my availability is conflicting with your schedule, email me. We'll work something out. I'm looking forward to a really fun and great year. I have a lot of good activities and labs planned. We will do a lot of fun things, be ready to fail and fail miserably, not your grade, but experiments. Many of our experiments are going to fail and we're going to have a laugh about it. So I really hope that this year is a great year, and let me know if you have any questions.